I'd like to take the opportunity to make a few remarks and really start off what I was trying to say outside, but it was really cold and really loud. Today is truly overwhelming in many ways, and I want to thank both my caucus on this side and the Republicans for your support, for your faith in me to be the next Speaker of the House of the state of Connecticut for the next 2 years, and I hope that my actions will make you proud over the next 2 years. It's a little unusual, the circumstances we're in, everybody on Zoom and not many people in the chamber. But let's start with the obvious of 2020 and where we find ourselves in 2021. The impact of the pandemic has been vast in its reach, from our seniors to our children, from the vulnerable to the comfortable. The virus has touched all of us in some way, testing our resolve and reminding us of the value of life, connection, and compassion. It has also shined a light on the immeasurable contributions and sacrifices of our essential workers and our frontline workers. And I know we can all name the essential and frontline workers that exist outside this building, from grocery stores, to doctors, to nurses, to medical assistants, to firefighters, police officers. But I would remind folks in this building alone, we have many essential and frontline workers that have kept the state of Connecticut's democracy moving and have allowed us to modernize our platforms and technologies. It's the IT professionals, the partisan and nonpartisan staff, the janitors who have cleaned this building every single day since mid-March. It's the Capitol Police. Those are our essential workers. I hope that in this chamber we forge ahead, and in this state we forge ahead, the same spirit of appreciation and togetherness, with the knowledge. Switch off. Even the microphones are a little rusty right now. I hope that we will forge ahead, both in this chamber and this state, with that same spirit of appreciation and togetherness. I also want to take an opportunity to thank a few people who are here with me today. Most importantly, my family behind me. Where's Marilyn? To my left, my lovely wife, Marilyn. I am the Speaker of this House, but I can assure you she is the Speaker of our House. Marilyn is an incredible role model to our children, to the medical students and medical residents that she works with, and I count my blessings every day that a young lady from rural New Hampshire found her way to Hartford's West End and became my wife. To Jack and Emma, who are finally happy because they're with Uncle Franklin behind me, just know your mom and dad are very proud of you, and for all the children in the state of Connecticut and across this country, mine included, and the majority leaders and the minority leaders and everyone in this chamber, they too have had adjustments. And I'm very proud, Jack and Emma, of how you have adjusted to this new reality, or hopefully temporarily new reality. I want to thank my parents, Tom and Christine, who are with me today. Dad, you didn't mess up the swearing in. The betting money Mom was a safer choice. But since nobody could hear you through your mask, it probably was better for you after all. To my sister, Jessica, her husband, Joe, my wonderful nephew, Jake, and my niece, Katie. I can remember in 1993, sitting right there with my sister, Jessica, when Governor Weicker was giving his address to the state of Connecticut. So Governor Weicker, I doubt you're listening, but if you are, my sister and I owe you an apology for our behavior that day. It's a little overdue 28 years later, but I hope you know that we did not mean to interrupt your speech so many times. To the Majority Leader, my dear friend, Jason Rojas. To your wife, Sarah. To your daughters, Addison, Stella, and Celia, who I will buy Girl Scout cookies from, I promise. Jason, I have told everybody who's asked me, there is not a person better prepared for that job than you. You helped our outgoing Speaker, Joy Arasimowicz, immensely. You have been a tremendous chair of multiple committees. You are ready, you are polished, you are prepared, and I think, at least in my memory, and certainly the outgoing Speaker, we talked about it, there's no one more prepared to be Majority Leader of the House of Representatives in the state of Connecticut than you. So congratulations, my friend. Yeah, he can get an applause. And to the Minority Leader, my dear friend, Vinnie Candelora, and your wife, Carolyn, your sons, Christopher and Thomas, and your daughter, Ava. You know, we got to run this chamber in uncharted territory, right? Nobody can give us a roadmap, which is unique. Even opening day, we sort of had to make it up on the back of a napkin as we went along. And that's not going to be about politics, right? We'll have bills, we'll have our debates that will inevitably involve politics, but how we run this chamber is quite simply about fairness, being organized, and being transparent with what we do. And I know that we will figure that out, because Vinnie, that's your MO. at the end of the day, the one thing that I hope my side in particular takes note of, Representative Candelora, the minority leader, doesn't just vote no. He will work with you. He will go through amendments with you. He will work to make legislation better. And when you have somebody who can tell you exactly where they can't go, what their red lines are, but will negotiate with you, that's a colleague, that's a partner, and I hope we'll keep that in mind. Vinny, congratulations, my friend. To the Senate leaders, Senate President Looney and Senator Duff, I look forward to working with you as we have so well the last 4 years. To Senator Kelly, congratulations on your new position. To the governor of the state of Connecticut, Governor Lamont, your leadership of this state during this trying and unprecedented time has been deeply appreciated, and we appreciate your leadership for that. And to our outgoing speaker, Joanna Simowitz, from the bottom of my heart, it is well written how I feel about you. It is well written about our relationship. And I can just tell you that in my life, a lot of the most impactful people have been coaches, going back to Hartford Travel Soccer and Little League with Vic Cruz and Jerry Toney and Terry Phillip. So I've always loved coaches, which is probably why I was so drawn to you. But because they put people in positions to succeed and to grow. And that's what you did for me. You gave me opportunities, never spite, never jealousy. You said, let's work together. And Jason, you know, we will continue on that tradition, not only for us, but for him. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And to my staff and to the whole staff, all the partisan and nonpartisan staff, you always hate to call people out, but I am moving from one office to the other and mindful that with Franklin and Ricky and Kimmy and Todd and Chris and Corey, who are moving over from the Majority Leader's office to our new role, I want to thank them. I will tell you, if you had told me at 6 years old, when Franklin and I were on the same basketball, soccer, and Little League team, that one day I would be Speaker and he would be Chief of the Staff of House Democrats, I wouldn't believe that. But if you had told me that he would be in my life and I'm in his, supporting one another, that I would always believe. So now to the new members who are listening and wondering when they can get out of here, probably. I hope today has been special. I hope you spend the next few weeks thanking the people who helped you get here. You're going to need them again, both your family and your volunteers. And I don't have a lot of wonderful wisdom or words that I can give you that will help you navigate your first 2 years here. But I think there's one thing I'd like to say to the new members in particular, and it might work well for those of us who are coming back. Don't assume anything about your colleagues. Let's just start on the personal for a second. In this chamber alone in the last 2 years, we have had members pass away. We've had members battle cancer. We've had members who have lost parents, who have lost children, who have lost their job, and who have become sickened with COVID-19. Our chamber is a microcosm of the state of Connecticut in this country. We're not immune to the realities of the world out there. If you know somebody on a personal level, if you know what they're going through, I have a hard time believing, but or license plate. My first order as Speaker, by the way, is get this fixed. No offense, but when you know people, it makes a big difference. And don't assume anything about their politics. I'm always amazed when you see Republicans and Democrats, especially the last few weeks, begin working on a bill together you never would anticipate. So let me say this. Don't get lost in the formality of the building. The rules, the procedures, all that stuff's important. It's the informal stuff that will matter most to make you successful. And to the extent that I can, I will use my position to help the members that make a true effort to get to yes, who will be rewarded for participating and not just wanting to vote no or yes, but trying to make a bill better. And if you can't do that, if you're going to shun the daily grind of legislating and the humbling task of legislating, it'll be a tough 2 years for you in this chamber. 3 things that I want to end with. I do have some expectations for this chamber. They're not hard, they are quick, and I hope they are widely appreciated. Number 1, we will be punctual. We will start exactly on time. A tradition that we did for the last 4 years will not change. If you are a minute late, you will be a minute late. I am also mindful of the time of day when we're debating. I acknowledge that we don't do our best work too long after sunset and too long before sunrise. I can't promise that we won't have debates that go long in the night, but I will say this. If we're all respectful of each other's times, if we push the boundaries only so far, I will do everything in my power to make sure that we avoid the 4 o'clocks, the 3 o'clocks, and have people driving unsafely. That takes 151 people to make that puzzle work. It makes us come prepared to do our business. That's our side and that's their side. But if we do that, I'll do everything in my power to avoid that. And I hope we learn from this experience, folks. The one thing that I've learned because of COVID-19 is that we were stuck in the past in the Connecticut General Assembly. I've heard remarks said that it's not fair that our public hearings are only on Zoom. I agree. It's no substitute for being in person. But I also don't think that having Zoom is such a bad idea in the future. Because right now, to participate in a public hearing, you got to take a day off from work or drive up here and wait for 9 hours. Is that really the best way we can provide access to the members of the state of Connecticut? Of course not. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that we grow in this legislature, that we adjust to technology, that we stay true and loyal to when this building has been open and to the first speaker in 1818 from Stratford, Connecticut. But we're also going to adjust with the times, make it easier for people to submit videos, make it easier to testify in this building. We may not agree with what people say, but they're going to have the right to say it. In conclude, my parting thought for you all, and if you haven't listened to my speech because you don't want to or you're in your office, that's fine. Listen to this last part, please, because it will affect all of your lives. COVID-19 has taken away so many things from so many people. If you're fortunate, all you've missed is soccer games or basketball games or dance recitals or graduations. If you're not so fortunate, you've missed funerals. But I do know this. Brighter days are coming in this country and in the state of Connecticut. No one knows exactly when, but they are coming. And I'd like to think that as we get to Memorial Day in particular, that might be the first holiday that our country can celebrate where vaccines are widely distributed, widely administered, and positivity rates and hospitalizations have finally begun to plateau and hopefully decline to virtually much different than when we started this pandemic. So here's what I'd say to you. Often we're not sure if that weekend is going to be off, right? It's sort of a game that we play in this chamber. Well, I don't want anyone in this chamber to miss one more wedding, miss one more ball game, one more picnic, or one more tournament. So take note. The Thursday before Memorial Day, no matter what is going on, we will end at 5 o'clock in this chamber. You will be able to fly or drive anywhere you want. We will not meet on Friday. We will not meet on Saturday. We will not meet on Sunday. We will not meet on Monday. That, I hope, is the comeback for America and the comeback for our state. And I promise you, Representative Carpino, you can book that flight. We will not be in the General Assembly that weekend. I'm humbled. I appreciate the confidence you put in me. And without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to the Honorable Majority Leader of the 9th District, my dear friend Jason Rojas.